If you've been scrolling through endless lists of projector screens, weighing the difference between ambient light rejecting and standard white, and still feel like you might end up with a piece of fabric that looks great on paper but falls flat in your living room, this review is here to cut through the noise. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. I've spent a good chunk of the last month setting up a home theater corner, swapping a cheap pull-down screen for a purpose-built fixed frame, and watching the same movies on both to see if the premium price actually translates into a noticeably better experience. First off, the Elite Screen's 125-inch CLR/ALR screen is marketed as an ambient light rejecting solution that lets you enjoy a bright image even when your room isn't a blackout. That promise sounds perfect for anyone who can't afford a dedicated media room, but the reality hinges on a few practical details. The screen is built to a 2.35:1 aspect ratio, which is the sweet spot for most cinematic content, and it comes pretensioned in a sturdy aluminum frame that snaps into place without tools. The instant setup claim holds up. You unpack, attach the frame to the wall using the included brackets, and the screen unfurls like a curtain. No need for a separate tensioning system or a wall-mounted motor. Now, let's talk about the everyday use case. I live in a suburban house with a large living room window on one side, so I can't darken the space completely. With the Elite Screen up, my 4K projector, a short-throw model that throws a 100-inch image from about 3 feet away, was able to maintain deep blacks and a decent contrast ratio even with the sun hitting the far wall. The CineGrey 3D material does a solid job of absorbing stray light, which is what the ALR part is all about. In a room where you'd normally have to lower the blinds and turn on a lamp just to watch TV, the picture stayed vibrant and the whites didn't look washed out. Who should consider this screen? If you already have a projector that can throw a large image from a short distance, and you plan to watch movies, sports, or occasional gaming in a room that gets some daylight, this is a strong candidate. The fixed frame design eliminates the wiggle you sometimes get with pull-down screens, so the image stays perfectly rectangular and flat. It also works well if you're into 3D content. The material is engineered for that, although I didn't have a 3D source handy for this test. Another plus is that Elite is a US-based company with a solid warranty, 2 years from the manufacturer and an optional 3-year extended guarantee. That peace of mind is worth noting for anyone hesitant about investing in a large, wall-mounted component. On the flip side, there are clear situations where you'd be better off skipping this model. First, if you can truly darken your room, a standard white screen can often give you a brighter image with a lower cost. The ALR material is slightly grayish, which means you'll lose a few nits of peak brightness compared to a pure white surface. In a completely dark environment, that loss is hardly noticeable, but in a truly blacked-out home theater you might prefer the extra brightness of a white screen. Second, the 125-inch width is great for a dedicated media wall but could dominate a smaller space. If your wall is under 12 feet wide, the frame will extend beyond the edges of the room, forcing you to either cut the screen, which voids the warranty, or live with a visual overhang. Finally, the fixed frame approach means you can't easily roll the screen away when you need the wall for other purposes. It's a permanent installation. One subtle trade-off that isn't highlighted in the marketing copy is the weight of the frame. The aluminum structure is sturdy, but it does add a few pounds to the wall. If you're mounting on drywall without studs, you'll need to reinforce the mounting points, otherwise you risk the frame pulling away over time. I used a stud finder and placed the brackets into 2 solid studs. The screen feels rock solid after months of use, but it's not something you want to bolt onto a hollow partition. Another practical point is cleaning. The CineGrey surface repels dust fairly well, but when you do need to wipe it, you have to be gentle. Harsh chemicals or abrasive cloths can degrade the ALR coating, reducing its light rejection capability. A soft microfiber cloth dampened with a mild soap solution is all you need, and you should do it sparingly. The screen doesn't need weekly maintenance, just an occasional touch-up. From a value perspective, the price sits in the mid to high range for a 125-inch fixed screen, but the package you receive includes everything you need for a wall mount, brackets, mounting hardware, and a detailed instruction sheet with diagrams. That eliminates the need to purchase separate accessories, which can quickly add up. The 2-year warranty also means that if anything goes wrong with the material or the frame, you won't be left scrambling for